LinkedIn, sponsor me. Something, you need something, because your part-time job at Tesco is not enough. I'm so sorry, but your part-time job at Wilco is not enough. If you aim too low, you have fumbled the bag.
Motorsport, put that thing in sport. Shot it bad, pop up like a court. You a dork, never been a sport. Pull up.
Testing, 1 2 3. Testing, 1 2 3. Testing, 1 2 3 4 5. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope everyone is well and good. Today I'm back with another video. If I tell you the stress I've been through to film this video, this is the second time I'm filming it now, because the first time I looked ill, so I'm re-wearing the same outfit. If you know, you know. But yeah, today's video is basically going to be tips on how to secure the interview, get to the interview stage when you're job hunting, and then I'm going to also drop some gems after that section of the video regarding basically getting paid your worth and getting paid what you want to be paid, as opposed to what a business would pay you. Yeah, so make sure you like, comment and subscribe if you wanted to kind of see some more videos on this kind of topic. And yeah, let's get into the video. So before we get into the video, I'm just going to give you a little bit of background, how I know what I know now, and kind of like why you should maybe take some advice from me for my little 2 pence, do you know what I mean? Yeah, so a bit of background. I've graduated this year, did business and finance at uni, graduated or finished in like May. So I started a graduate job in May in the finance sector, and I stayed there for like 3 and a bit months, wasn't for me, left. And then I have now secured a new job, starting Monday, and I'm so excited. Like, basically the job, like, they really like me, and just the company just seems amazing, so like, I'm really excited. In terms of how I learnt job hunting, so in the job that I mentioned where I worked kind of like my graduate job straight from uni that I stayed at for a few months, in that role, some of the role was in recruitment, so we were recruiting people basically to join the business, so I picked up things from basically being a recruiter myself, and then also the past 2 months or month, let's say, because I secured this job quite a while ago, but the onboarding process took a while. Secured quite a few interviews actually, so I picked up a lot of things on the way, and also, like, I've been speaking to people that are also applying for jobs, and they're not necessarily graduates either, so that's kind of like the background slash where I've learned, got the information from, if you are wondering. So the first kind of like tip that I have for you, and it might sound pretty self-explanatory, it's very important to have an up-to-date CV, and by this I mean your CV needs to be popping, and it needs to be like very current, and especially for someone who's moved jobs a lot, or some people don't even have a CV, so make sure you have a CV. There's lots of like free templates that you can find online on basically how to like format your CV and stuff, and basically springboarding off that concept, I suggest having multiple CVs for the different sectors or job roles. By this I mean, if you you're happy to go into finance but you also want to go into IT, have 2 separate CVs for each sector. Obviously they'd have the same kind of thing in terms of like your experience to experience, but you can just tailor it slightly by changing sort of like keywords, and also when you put your kind of like profile, so kind of like your personal statement slash profile at the top, you can basically tailor it and say that, you know, you're looking to transfer your competencies into a finance role or into a project management role, that kind of thing. So I'd suggest, yeah, having multiple CVs. Obviously use your main CV, and then just kind of edit it slightly, and then keep that as kind of like your finance CV, your IT CV. Okay, my next tip. Okay, so my next tip for securing interviews slash even finding jobs, your best friend is LinkedIn. I'm sure you've heard it. LinkedIn is really in right now. If you don't know, get to know. If you don't have a LinkedIn profile, make one, build it up. Don't be that person that doesn't have a profile picture. Create your CV, create your LinkedIn profile properly, put a professional picture. I'm saying professional picture, is my picture professional? But have like a decent looking picture as your profile picture, put your past experiences and actually say what you've done in the past experience, not just this is the job role, but actually put, okay, some of the sort of key duties and responsibilities that you had. You can literally take this off a CV and copy and paste it to make life easier. But yeah, LinkedIn and Indeed is what I used. I secured quite a few from LinkedIn. And basically LinkedIn, the reason it can help you in multiple ways. The first way is through the job sections, there's LinkedIn jobs, and you basically can see like a lot of jobs on there. And I feel like finance especially, there's a lot of finance jobs on LinkedIn, and that's where it's really popping. Also with LinkedIn, there are quite a few workplaces that only recruit through LinkedIn. So if you don't have your LinkedIn or don't use it, then you kind of like cut off a whole variety of jobs that, you know, you could have been open to. So the job that I actually had last, I found through LinkedIn, and they only recruit through LinkedIn. Use LinkedIn jobs. Secondly, if you go to your profile and you can basically, I'll put it on screen, you can basically change your profile to say that you're looking for work, and if you're someone who like, you don't want like people that, I don't know, are at your workplace or whatever to know that you're looking for new work, you can set it just so recruiters can see. So people that recruit through LinkedIn are the only ones who'll be able to see that you're open to work, and then you can kind of put the jobs that you're kind of looking for, what kind of sector you want to go into, location, etc. And then you can actually get contacted quite a bit by recruiters who are like, hi, I've seen your profile, I've seen you're looking for work, we have this role, and it might not even be sort of promoted on the jobs page. You recruiters actually did message me, up your network, build up your network, connect with recruiters. That's the best thing to do. I think sometimes in school or uni, they kind of say like, well, in my uni anyway, they'll kind of like, you know, like, be careful with like who you're connected to, don't have too many connections. Can't lie, that is cap. Connect with as many people as you can. I'm not saying useless people, you don't really need to connect with people that like you see they have like 2 connections, but I mean, maybe be a bit strategic about who you connect with, but connect with like quite a few people. And I'm talking about connecting with people that, say you want to work in a certain bank or whatever, connect with people who do the role. If you've seen someone does a graduate role in an investment bank, you really want to work in, connect with those kind of people, because also their connections will also basically give you access to information that you might want to know. They might share, oh, like our bank is currently like looking for new graduates, etc. So that's a really good way. And also what you can do is message them. I haven't tried that myself personally, but you can contact, like, let's say people that are in the role that you want to do, and just be like, hi, like, I'm looking to work here, do you guys have any open roles that you know about, or how do you do your job, basically, like, do you have any tips, or that kind of thing. So LinkedIn is a very, very useful tip, and if you're not familiar with it, then get familiar. Sort of step laddering all these words, I don't know how I come up with these phrases. Step laddering of the last point about using LinkedIn to find jobs. There's kind of like, when you're on the jobs section of LinkedIn, a lot of the time you can see who posted the job, and you can basically see if the job is from the company, or if it is posted by an external recruitment company that is just posting a job opening on behalf of that company. When you see a recruiter that is recruiting for a job and you like the look of the job, I would suggest actually going straight to the actual recruiter's website, so you'll know as well, because it will be like, the recruitment company will be like tech recruiters or something. It will be something they recruit, and if the recruitment company focuses on a specific industry and you know you want to go into that industry, that is flipping fantastic, and that is the best type of recruiter to have. Recruiters that recruit specifically for a certain industry, which I feel like most do. But yeah, external recruiters, basically, if you go on their external site, so they'll usually have a link to the recruitment company's site, and basically if you can find the job on their independent site and apply directly through there, also through that site you can contact them yourself, you can call them or email them, just be like, hi, I've seen this job on LinkedIn, really interested in it, and they'll basically let you know, okay, cool, your CV suits, we're going to put you forward or not. And when you start building that relationship with the recruiter, this is what really helped me specifically, but they can basically be like, okay, cool, you like this job, we're going to put you forward, but also we have some other jobs that you might be interested in. And then every like week or so, they basically will be bringing the jobs to you. And I had, I think, 2 or 3 recruiters that I used in the sector that I wanted, and I had quite a few interviews from that. And how I did find the recruiters through LinkedIn. So I applied on their external sites, and then they contacted me, and then yeah, we kind of built a relationship up that way, and they basically were able to find jobs for me that they hadn't even posted or anything yet. So that is a great way. Definitely, I highly recommend using a recruiter that specializes in the industry that you want to go into to basically find your job. So the 4th tip I have for you guys to secure interview / get a job is, this one is specifically for university students. If you're in 1st year, 2nd, or even your 3rd year now, so it's like, it's December, so if you're in your 3rd year now, you better listen up. 3rd years especially, because you need to really take action. I highly recommend, and let's be honest, I'm gonna come a bit closer. They have been telling us, you need to do a spring week, you need to do an internship, you need to do a spring week. You have heard this multiple times over and over and over again. So if you have not taken action, this is your sign to take action. But if you love yourself, take action. You need to do an internship or a spring week, even if it's shadowing someone who's like, I don't know, an accountant, or shadowing an analyst, something. You need something, because your part-time job at Tesco is not enough. I'm so sorry, but your part-time job at Wilco is not enough. Like, it's just not enough. And it's really unfortunate, because people go to university and like they kind of like come out and then there just isn't really a job for them, because they're like, where's your experience? But it's like, I've been at uni, like, what was the time? But please, 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 if you can, start applying for spring weeks, internships, whatever it is, even if it's a summer internship. If you're in final year now and you can secure an internship that lets you do it once you've finished, and you just do a summer internship, that even after that is done, that internship, even after university, it'll be much easier to find a job. So obviously with my job that I stayed at for 3 months, I feel like a lot of recruiters kind of saw that as like an internship. So that's kind of a similar kind of thing. It's really going to help you out. People have been saying it, but it really actually does help you out. And what I learned when I was a recruiter myself, I haven't had any type of like experience within the industry. Like, they're not really gonna, it depends on the job, but like, I feel like some jobs they're kind of like not too bothered if you just graduated, cool. But other jobs they're kind of like, you know, they want you to have done like something or had some experience or like exposure to the industry. So, and also Bright Network do a virtual internship. I done one of those, but I did that actually in consulting. So I highly recommend that as well. That's just like another thing to put on your CV. It's like a 3-day kind of thing. So that's like really, really good as well. But please try and do something. Even if it's unpaid, it's worth it. Really, really, please do yourself a favor. Following up from that, I'd recommend people that are, again, at university, and also people that are looking to go into an industry that they haven't had any experience is to get extra qualifications. A lot of highly skilled jobs and jobs that are going to pay you the most, your university degree is not enough, whether that's kind of like tech, coding that you want to go into, or IT, project management especially. So you can do like courses. Also Reed, currently they have a lot of sales. I'm gonna put that here. Reed, sponsor me. LinkedIn, sponsor me. But yeah, basically they have a lot of courses that are on sale currently. A lot of them are literally like £10, so you need to get your hands on this. People that just want to learn extra things, they have it in like all industries, like finance, fashion, tech, project management, business analytics, Python courses, so lots of IT courses. So please, if you are thinking about, oh, I want to learn how to do this, I want to learn how to code, I want to upgrade on my Excel skills, they have a lot of courses that are already £10. Like £10 is not a lot of money for investing in your future, investing in yourself. With having a course that kind of can make up a little bit for the experience that you lack, instead you kind of have more. Next thing I'm going to say is, I don't really have like a solution for this, but it's just something to be aware of. I learned as a recruiter myself, and also through kind of speaking to other people that are looking for jobs and are finding it very, very difficult to secure an interview. If your current job title, so I think this applies if you've been working a bit longer and you're not like a fresh graduate. If your current job title and your previous job titles are completely unrelated to the industry that you're trying to go into, you might find it harder to secure interviews, and that is just something that is the case. As a recruiter as well, I noticed this, because if I'm recruiting for, I'm not going to say what I was recruiting for, if I'm recruiting for, let's say I'm recruiting for an interior designer and I can see that this person was a tailor, it's kind of within the same industry of fashion, but like the previous job title's not like, do you know what I mean? Whereas if I'm seeing like, realistically, I'm looking at someone's CV, I'm looking at their job title straight away. Before I'm reading the description of their responsibilities, I'm looking at the job title. And if the job title is not really like looking, you're gonna find it a bit harder to secure certain jobs. So I think that's just something to consider. Again, kind of as I mentioned before, trying to do courses that kind of align more with the job title. If you want to be an interior designer but you've taken an interior design course, make that clear on your CV. And for the CV that you're using for applying for that type of job, make sure that's near the top somewhere so they can read that. Okay, your job title's not that, but you've done an interior design course and that's what you're applying for. So it's a straight direct correlation, and it's making it easier for the recruiter. The recruiter doesn't have time to be sifting through to find like if the skills match. Like your job title needs to kind of, or something very much like a course that you've done needs to stand out on your CV. So that is something to consider, and I feel like if you're young and you can do it, do a couple of different things. If you start something and you're like, no, I don't want to do it, move around industries. I think it's much easier to move around industries as a graduate, as opposed to when you're 3, 4, 5 and more years into work and you've been in one industry. I've actually spoken to a couple of people about this, and I feel like this is why it's really good to network. Sorry, tangent. I spoke to a few people that worked in car sales, like in their early 30s, and they're kind of all saying, you know, like, it's kind of hard to get out of car sales once you've got in, because like that's kind of all your experiences in. And I feel like it's quite similar with a lot of industries where it's hard to get out of that industry if that's all you've known. So I suggest that while you're young and if you have time and can, quit jobs, and not saying just up and leave your job all the time, but if you can kind of experience different things, then move around. Especially if you're in first and second year of uni, do spring internships in different things. So when it gets to the end of uni, you're kind of like, want to go into this, and you've got options to back you up. You've got experience in different things to back you up, so you have a choice basically. So yeah, I hope those tips helped, and just something for you to kind of consider in terms of like securing the interview. And this next stage of the video, this is regarding being paid your worth. This is basically tips and gems on how not to fumble the bag, because once you fumble the bag for a certain job, it's very hard to catch that bag and pick the bag back off the floor. Once it's fumbled, it's basically done for that job, I'm not gonna lie to you. So yeah, let's get started. Glassdoor is your best friend. Glassdoor is your best friend. Glassdoor, sponsor me. Sponsor me. Glassdoor is your best friend. If you don't know about it, you need to get to know. What you're going to use this to do is you are going to use this to find out how much is the average pay of someone with your experience going into the role that you want to go into in the industry. You can basically use this site to find out, okay, average pay for a junior doctor is roughly this much, and you can basically see, like, you can basically set kind of the tone of, you know, what that kind of job role looks like. If the money is not really cash doilerin, then you might want to, and you're thinking, I don't even want to go into industry that's not really cash doilerin, you get? So that's really, really great for that. And then secondly, this is where it gets really, really sweet. If you're going for a really big company, and you want to know on average how much they pay for within the company and within specific roles within that company, Glassdoor will tell you. Glassdoor is find out how much an analyst gets paid, and you can basically see the average analyst pay. It will give you a price range. People that work there or have worked there and have put their salaries on there, kind of like, okay, cool, set your expectations. So that's the first step, cool. So once you've kind of done this, you've got your salary expectation, you see a business analyst and the industry gets paid this, cool. You've set your salary expectation in your head. You know what they can pay and what it's looking like, you know, they should pay. So based off this knowledge that you now know, it can be the application of the job once you're doing the first application of the job. It can be when a recruiter calls you. This can be an external or internal recruiter for that job. And it can also be in the interview stage. So these are the 3 sections where you do not fumble regarding your salary. First of all, they can have put their salary there and said, this is our salary, and it's this is what the salary is. That's where it's like, you're probably less likely to be asked your salary expectation because that is just the salary. Then they can either put kind of a bracket. We pay 35 to 38,000 pounds a year, and then there will be the companies that do not have a salary at all. Cool. When there's the bracket, I suggest aim for the sky. Aim very high, and by this I mean, so you've looked at the salary, you've seen they pay 35 to 38,000 pounds a year. You've then looked at Glassdoor, giving kind of the same kind of figures, aim for the 38,000 pounds a year. If they ask you, oh, okay, what are your salary expectations? Aim for the 38. You know that they can pay up to that. Worst case scenario, it is better to aim higher than lower. £1,000 to 40,000 pounds. You can even go a little bit higher, and they'll be like, okay, cool, we only pay up to 38,000. So they already know that you're looking for the higher end. Cool. Next, if they have not put the salary at all, this is where you need to use your Glassdoor well and make sure, cool, see what the highest salary is. And this is where I suggest that you use an extreme anchor. So this method is called the extreme anchor, and this is basically where you say an extreme number and the person focuses on that extreme number. So anything that you say that is lower will sound significantly lower because there's so much focus on that extremely high number. If, for example, they're trying to pay the 35 to 38,000 pounds a year and you're like, I'm looking for 45,000 pounds a year, they're kind of like, wow, that's a bit high. And then you're like, okay, cool, I can take 40. Then it's kind of like, okay, that's much better than the 45, even though like it's still above, you know, what they're trying to pay. So this method is spoken about in the book How to Negotiate Like Your Life Depends on It. I'll put a picture of the book on the screen. It's a really, really great book about negotiation, but it's a technique that's been used for years, but it's just spoken about in this book. So yeah, use an extreme anchor if you're unsure, but it's always better to aim higher. If you aim too high and they're kind of like, okay, cool, we don't pay up to that, we could pay up to this, cool, it's better to aim too high. Basically, if you aim too low, you have fumbled the bag. If they're willing to pay 35 to 38k a year and they have not said their salary, and you're like, okay, I'm looking for £30,000, they're just gonna say, okay. Some places are really honest, they'll be like, look, we can pay more than that. Other places gonna pay you the 30, so it's better to aim way too high, and they will bring back the barrier and they'll be like, no, we're not looking to pay that high. So that is basically how you do not fumble the bag regarding your pay. Always aim extremely high. Also, if you're aiming extremely high, and like, be prepared to back up your answers. I'm kind of like, okay, you're not as experienced as, you know, what we are looking for. Why do you want to get paid £38,000? And then you can come in and be like, look, this is kind of industry average, I'm really this, and then basically you have to have some points to back it up. So be prepared if they ask you, why do you want 38k when you have no experience or not much experience. So be prepared to also back up your answer if you're gonna go really high. So yeah, basically always aim high, and do not sell yourself short by kind of limiting how much that you could get paid. If you find that they haven't showed the salary and then they've then told you the salary later on, they're looking to pay you £20,000 a year, which is chicken change, by the way, for, let's say, graduate, that's chicken change. They're looking to pay you £20,000 a year, and then you're kind of like, that's a bit low, and then I want like £23,000, and they're really, really struggling to pay you even £23,000, which I do think is quite low for a graduate. That might be a red flag to you. And by this I mean, if they're struggling so much to pay you as a graduate, and you're kind of like an entry-level role, they're struggling so much to pay you, and especially if this is a company that you're planning to stay and progress at, what makes you think that when you get to senior manager level, your pay is all of a sudden going to be 100k? If they cannot pay a graduate £23,000, or they're struggling to, senior manager level is probably not going to be 100k, like if you think about it. So if you're coming in as a graduate and they're like, okay, cool, they're quite easily paying you 30, 35k, that's kind of a good sign. So you're like, okay, cool, as I kind of like move up, it's gonna be an easy kind of like increasing my salary. Whereas like if it's a struggle from the beginning at an entry-level role, maybe take that with a pinch of salt and kind of just be like, look, maybe they're not really gonna pay well. And if you obviously have looked at Glassdoor, you not really need to sponsor me, like, come on now. You've looked at Glassdoor and you've looked at other roles, and the senior managers are getting paid like £30,000. How's a senior manager getting paid £30,000? Like, make it make sense. So that is something to kind of like be aware of. And I think sometimes it's okay to negotiate your salary, which is completely fine. That is something to consider. It's just kind of like your earning potential might be pretty limited at that company. So yeah, but yeah, that is the end of my video. I hope that you've stayed along till the end, hope that you've learned something new. So that was just my kind of like 2 pence on what I have picked up along the way. You do not by any means have to follow it, and I'm not completely 100% factually right, but I do think these tips could help you if you're looking for a new role, graduate or not. So yeah, if you liked my video, make sure you like and you drop a gem down below in the comments, or let me know anything that you've learned. If you're looking for a job, if you secured a job, let me know your thoughts, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye guys.